Spirit team has been wanting me to visit with you about water for quite some time. And this is not just your regular run-of-the-mill message about water. Like there's a storyline here and all these little elements of water that have been dropped into my life over the last couple of months. It's all kind of lining up in this video. So I want to share that with you. But before I get there, I am beginning to do something I never thought I would do, and that is offer my work through affiliates. So if you don't know what an affiliate is basically you taking somebody else's product and promoting it to sell in your own group, and then you get a percentage of those sales. And what happened is, because so many of you wanted more options besides PayPal to be able to pay for my work, I found us a place on Shopify, so I moved us over to Shopify, and I found out through Shopify there are plugin apps, and one of the plugin apps is an affiliate platform. So it's a seamless thing where you can come in and sign up and be an affiliate with me, be on my team with me, promote and sell my products, my spiritual digital products, and then you get a commission out of that. And the people that you're sharing it with, they get the improvement energy and information from my digital products. That's an affiliate. And so I am beginning to do that now. I'm soft rolling it out. I've got a link. If you're interested and you want to sign up, I've got a link on my link tree. You can go up and sign up through there. And if you want particulars, I've got an email. Just email me, Dana, D-A-N-A, @somaticmoney.com. And I will email you kind of the punch list of like what it looks like, how it works, some of the ins and outs on like percentage and payout and time, like, all of the structural things. But yes, I'm beginning to do that, and it's kind of exciting to think that I can collect a team together, and we can be a team to send out this information, somatic money, and the basics of the intuitive work that I'm doing, get that out into the greater world. My thinking behind this is like, put money in your pocket while you're helping to better the world around you. Number 2 is that the next live event, yes, I'm beginning to look at the next live event, took a break this week. The next live event is going to be May the 9th, 2025, Friday. I have not set the time yet. I do not have it up yet. And what is it going to be? We're going to connect back in. Finally, we're going to connect back into somatic money. We're going to do like the next live part of the program that I think is really important. It's called the Bird's Eye View to Somatic Money. And it's all about IQ, EQ, and a whole bunch of breakdown with that. So we're going to do that live, and I will have that information coming to you very soon. That said, let's get to this funny, quirky kind of story about water. So it begins earlier this winter when one of my clients emailed me, and she said, Dana, there's something going on with water. And she kind of told me some of the water things that she had going on in her life. And I read it and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I tuned into the greater space and I was like, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. But noted that, that's really good information. So I encouraged her along her way and, kind of filed it back there and kept cruising along my way, right? Well, not long after that, I start seeing some videos, like these videos popping up of a beautiful Native American Indian woman sitting beside various rivers, singing over the water as a blessing. And I'd seen this kind of stuff before, but like who she is and the way she was doing it, oh my God, it really moved me. And if I can find her, I will get her clocked back up here for a banner so you can take a look at her work. She kept popping up, and then I started seeing these like witchy talk, elemental videos, like trainings of like teaching people how to stand at the edge of water and summon the wind. And these are videos of like people standing in this completely calm, serene state, like weather-wise and elemental-wise, and standing beside, a body of water that's completely glass, pretty much. and summoning wind with their hands and their voice and their body, and literally getting a gust of wind to come through and create ripple effect on the water. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Now, me personally, I've never done that, but there's been so many times, and this especially happens in the mountains. There's been times I've been doing my meditation out in natural space and it's been completely quiet. And spirit team will come through and like they do energy work with me or messaging, and you can just feel the energy come through. And the next thing I know, there's like all sorts of wind and birds and the chimes start going. And I kind of come out of my energy space and I go, woo, we're doing something. So like the whole moving air elemental thing, like that totally made sense. But the videos were about air moving over water. And my client, like, we eventually had another session and she came into the session. She's like, oh my God, Dana, Spirit Team is showing me all this stuff about like holding water and blessing water and blowing over water and then taking the blessed water over the land. Like she's got this whole thing going on with water. And by the time I got through some of those experiences and got to the session with her, I was like, by then I'm kind of like, I need to be paying attention to this. So that all happened. And I was like, got my attention, Spirit World, you've got my attention. And right around then, that's when Spirit World was like, we kind of need you to start talking about water in your videos, Dana. And I kind of wasn't sure like what to talk about water, because water is not necessarily like my forte. But even as I'm saying that, Spirit World is like, oh, you know so much more than what you're letting on to. So let me pull out my crib sheet here and see what else. Like I've got a whole list of stuff. Let's see what else is on the list here. Oh, yes. And this one client wasn't the only water client, so to speak. Like all of this had happened. And then a couple weeks out, I had another woman come in, a remote video read, and I'm in that remote video read, and Spirit Team comes through and they give her a couple things. And then they start talking to her about water and elemental water and nature water and all these things that she could, if she wanted to, be doing with programming and working with the element of water. So I'm like, it was not giving up the ghost on the water thing. Right around then, it occurred to me, that whole thing about, we need to stay hydrated because we're primarily made of water. Then I got to thinking about like how much of a percentage of water we are. Like we're made up like predominantly of water. And so I looked up that percentage and it runs somewhere between 55 to 60% evidently. And for some reason, 70% sticks in my mind, but we are made predominantly of water. And right around here, like after all of those things had happened, and like I knew Spirit World was trying to get my attention and wanted me to talk about it, but I didn't exactly know like the focal point of what they wanted me to talk about. And that's when it began to land a little bit. And it was this whole idea of like, given the high percentage of water volume that we have in our bodies, and given this idea that Masaru Emoto brought through for us, remember this lovely man and his work with water crystals and focusing your attention on certain energy and the differences that he was able to photograph in water crystal structure. Remember that? And if you don't know about that, go look up his work. So I started thinking about like the amount of water that we are made up of physiologically, and then this idea of programming water. And I think, and I can kind of feel it, I think that's what Spirit World really, really, really wanted me to get in front of you about. And it's this message coming through from Spirit World of like, this right now is a prime time, given everything that's going on, like the shifting we're doing and the chaos in the world. There's this whole energy. This is a prime time for each of us individually to be programming the water in our body and also the water that we drink. So on that note, using this idea that Masaru Emoto gave to us and scientifically proved that we can literally program our water crystals, the crystalline structure of water, into a higher frequency and a better structure just by our thoughts and our consciousness and intent. Taking that and pairing it with this idea of programming the water in our body, like we have this huge, amazing thing going on with our body, but specifically focusing on programming the water, the crystalline structure of the water in our body, and also programming the water of what we are drinking. And the feeling that I'm getting through from Spirit World is like once a day, just taking a few moments and talking with your water in your body and the crystalline structure of the water in your body, and talking with it about higher vibration, and like what Masaru Emoto did, he would have a research group just focus on the energy of love, and then he would take a microscopic slide and look at that, and then another one would be patience, another one would be joy, and it was like these very specific consciousness focal points. And so this would be you then picking a focal point for the day, depending on what emotional or consciousness focus you wanted to have, picking that for the day and focusing in on your body and your water and talking with your body and your water and the energy of a certain emotion or energy, and programming the water in your body in that direction. And then also doing the same thing with bottles of water. This is me right here just getting in front of you saying, Spirit World is saying, they're saying, this is a very good time from here on out to begin to consciously focus on programming your water. Now, it didn't stop there, because then, and this might not be for everyone, you check in, see if it's for you or not, but there was a thought and messaging coming through from Spirit World that for some people, if you feel so inclined, you can go out and go to a river, go to a lake, or think about the ocean, or you can literally tune into a body of water, whether you're there or not, and consciously send it that conscious choice of energy that you want to, higher vibration, higher light, a love frequency, a patience frequency, a joy frequency, or any kind of frequency that is really coming to you, focusing that intent in. And Spirit Realm is saying you would be surprised how fast shift can happen just from doing that. Here's another idea. Some of you in certain towns, like looking at your water tower and the water that's up there and programming it with love, and thinking about everybody drinking that water with that crystalline frequency and structure of love. I mean, that's kind of a fun way to think about programming our water into a higher vibration to provide better energy for everyone, right? And so ever since Spirit World got in front of me about the whole consciousness of water and programming water and getting in front of all of you to talk about that and being aware of the water element in your life and doing the kinds of consciousness things that you can do with water, ever since that happened, did they give up the ghost on the water thing? Oh no, they doubled down. They doubled down. And so let me share a few other things that happened that will give you some ideas of how to work with your water. One of them is that not long after the whole programming thing came through, there was a woman on my TikTok that popped up, and she had been popping up, and I had followed her. She's in Italy, and one morning I got on TikTok, and she was just all cheerfully talking about this whole relational experience, this relational exchange that she'd had with this like pond or lake, this body of water that she'd had an interaction with on her walk. And then, not to be outdone, Spirit World put in front of me another session, another remote video read with a woman, and she and her husband, they own a water company, like they provide bottled water service to their community, And so she came in and she wanted to know things about their business, and I was doing, channels and readings on that. And then she goes, "Oh, by the way, Dana, we were guided by Spirit Realm to create these like angel code images to put on the bottles." And, she showed me these beautiful images to put on the water bottles to program the water. This is where I'm like, Spirit World's like, are you getting the message? Are you getting the message? So that happened. Oh, and we're not done yet. We're not done yet, because in the middle of this whole thing, I have all my cats that I rescued, my family of 4 cats that I rescued, right? Well, they are quite rambunctious, because they're young and they do cat stuff and, running around the house. And one night, the 2 females got a little too curious about my water fountain, my bubbly water fountain, and I love this piece. I just absolutely love this piece. It's like handmade ceramic bubbling water fountain kind of thing, feature in my house. And they got a little too curious about it and paused on it and leaning into it, and it tipped over and crashed and broke into just smithereens. And I was like, heartbroken, but at the same time, I knew like that fountain was connected to a lot of old energy and a lot of old memories, and it was time to let it go. And so the cats did that for me. And what ended up coming out of it is I tried getting another fountain online, and I purchased it, and it was crap and had to return it. But I've had this book on my shelf for a very long time, and I have always wanted to create this. Guess what I will be doing? I will be making a brand new water fountain. So that happened. And then as of last week, like Spirit Realm had me go to a new Mexican homeopathy shop here in Yakima. Because like where I live, like it's 50% of the community here is Latinx. So it's 50% Latinx, 50% white. And there's a lot of the community has speaking Spanish-based businesses, and there is a Latinx homeopathy shop that is amazing here. And so Spirit Team guided me to go there. I went there, and guess what was on the shelf? This was on the shelf. Take a look at that. It is holy water written in Spanish, like agua, right? And it's rose water, and it's just absolutely wonderful. And I bought that along with like a peace candle. I mean, look at that kind of energy. So, I mean, Spirit World is just over and over and over again. They've been showing this to me. And the very last piece of information as far as programming your water that I want to give to you, it has to do with like getting your water container filled with water, whatever that is. And one of the things that you can do is you can put crystals in the water, and then you can set the water outside and charge it. And this is a plastic bottle, and I would not select whatever you're drinking out of. Especially if you're charging water, you want to make sure it's glass. You want to make sure it's glass or some kind of solid container. But one of the things you can do is that you get your bottle, you fill it with water, and you can drop crystals in it to charge the water that way. You can set it out in the sunshine. That charges the water. And one of the other things that I love to do, take a look at this. You get images of crop circles. Now, this is Karen Alexander and her husband, Temporary Temples out of Great Britain. You print out images of crop circles, and then you're gonna have it like this. And like if you want to do the whole thing, you get your crystals in the water bottle, you set the water bottle on the crop circle, and you go set that outside. And talk about having supercharged energy in your water that's really healthy for you to drink, because you just created a whole level of a crystalline frequency for you to hydrate yourself. That's something that you can do. These are the ideas and suggestions that I have for you your own water and creating a higher vibrational frequency for the water that you are hydrating through your body. I'm sure so many of you are doing similar things or other things. And so in the comment section, if you've got ideas or practices or experiences that I'm sure you're so much better at this than I am, because like I said, this is not my forte. I'm just kind of spitballing right now. But the main message Spirit Team wanted me to really deliver to everybody is that, especially as we head into this summer, it's really, really important that we program our water, charge our water, both what we're drinking as well as our own body. And if we can get to it, some of the bodies of water around us. And what I can hear Spirit Team saying is doing this is going to create a whole level of, they're basically saying night and day, night and day. You do this and you do it consistently, it will create a whole level of night versus day for you. And it has to do with like health and how you're feeling. And they're also saying it's going to contribute into that whole new consciousness ride that we will be doing this summer. Remember, I've started talking about it. Somewhere in the middle of summer, something changes, and this whole hydration and programming our water will help us make this shift. So Spirit Team is not bringing this to us just like for shits and grins out of the ethers to like, oh, go do this. Like, no, there's some bridge building going on here, and we begin to do this now, especially through May, and May is not going to be very easy. It's going to help support us through May. But then there's something going on with like catching an energetic ride or being prepared to be in some new energies that are going to start to come through middle of the summer. Programming our water and having water around us and working with water and being conscious of water is critical. It's like super, super critical. And it's a super important element on planet Earth. It's part of what makes Earth so beautiful is our water supply. And this is us putting our energy back into her and back into revitalizing water and water sources that are so critical for us. So my hope is that out of all that information, you pulled out a couple of nuggets that are right for you, that work for you, and I hope you begin to work with them. That's what I've got for you today. So keep swimming forward to meet those miracles along the way, and I will see you in the next video.